Hey everybody, this is Spoonie, and Star Wars Outlaws finally has a release date of August 30th, and I am ready to be hurt again. We've had some big promises from spacefaring titles this year that have fallen flat. From Starfield to the recent cancellation of Kerbal Space Program 2, as someone who loves sci-fi games, it feels like we're really overdue for a win. And that win might just be Star Wars Outlaws, which is looking better and better every time we get more information about the game. In Star Wars Outlaws, you will play as Kay Vess, a scoundrel who will earn or lose reputation with various factions based on missions you choose to complete and who you do or don't attack along the way. Along with her sidekick Nyx, who is, as far as I can tell, some kind of alien axolotl, and there has been some debate online about how hot this new character is, but I personally find that conversation ridiculous because Nyx is an obvious smoke show. And by the way, I've been trying to come up with a word for alien axolotl for about 10 minutes now, and the best I've been able to do is axolotlian, which is really difficult to say out loud. And if you just tried to say it out loud, let me know in the comments down below if you got it on the first try. In an Edge magazine interview, the game's creative director was asked about the open world aspects of the game, and said that some parts of the game will occasionally pull you through more planned routes for the sake of story, but overall you'll be able to have the freedom to go where and do what you want. The developers have described a very open-ended approach to completing the game, but have also said that we shouldn't expect a 300-hour game that can't be completed, drawing some contrast to other Ubisoft open-world titles from the Assassin's Creed series of games. But that's not to say the game is small. The game will still cover several planets with multiple cities and towns on each, and you'll be able to fly your ship to and from various planets and moons. While traveling, you'll be able to engage in dogfights along the way if you're so inclined or just not very stealthy, and space travel will include other activities like smuggling and some larger scale battles. But we don't have a lot of information on those mechanics just yet. The game will also feature a wanted system that is said to be akin to the wanted system players are used to from the Grand Theft Auto series, whereby breaking the Empire's laws or just acting in a way that they don't like can result in you being forced to fight off Imperial troops that will come after you in increasingly larger numbers depending on the severity of the offense and how many of them you've managed to take out while trying to escape. As far as ground missions in Star Wars Outlaws go, you'll be able to decide for yourself if you want to just start blasting or take the Agent 47 approach and try to stealth your way through. And that has me wondering if reputation is going to be affected by stealth. Will we get a harsher reputation penalty if we blast our way through 50 guards to complete each mission? Because I'd personally love to be able to work against the factions I have good reputations with through stealthily completing missions, minimizing or maybe even eliminating entirely reputation costs of doing so. I could then just blast my way through the missions when I don't care about standing. After all, what good scoundrel isn't playing both sides? But if all of this is sounding a little too familiar, that's because a lot of it is what we were promised when Bethesda was describing Starfield to us. I'm probably going to have a few people disagree with me on this, but Starfield, at least for me, was a massive letdown. The game might have been great, I honestly don't know, because after a few days of playing through it, I got bored and moved on to something else. And judging by the Steam charts, so did everyone else. Now, while I don't want to get into exactly what made Starfield so underwhelming, the most disappointing part of the game, at least for me, was your spaceship. Not only was spaceflight essentially meaningless, it was all trapped behind loading screen after loading screen. It was literally just fast travel but with extra steps. Yes, you could sometimes fight another ship if you felt like it, but even that got stale after just 1 or 2 battles. Aside from controlling the camera around you, your ship was in a fixed skybox, and the game was no different with or without the spaceflight. Because after all, you didn't actually fly anywhere. You didn't actually land the ship or take off, and you couldn't even board or deboard your ship without a loading screen. All that to say, I hope that spaceflight in Star Wars Outlaws is a bit more immersive and meaningful than the spaceflight in Starfield. I really want the ship to feel like an extension of your main character, because after all, it is basically your home. It's the most consistent location you're going to travel to over and over, and for me, it's really important that it feels as fluid as anything else in the game, not something that just turns into a chore. What we do know about the spaceflight so far is that you won't be able to freely fly around the planet's surface. Instead, you'll have to choose from predetermined landing areas. And while in space, you'll be limited to near orbit areas for all of your spacefaring activities, which all sounds reasonable to me. After all, I can understand not including the parts where you traverse the vast emptiness of space. For that, we will always have Eve. What I truly hope for here, though, is at least the illusion of free travel to and from the planet's surface, and a satisfying interplanetary jump from planet to planet and moon to moon. In Starfield, we would have to wait through a loading screen to get on our ship, and then another loading screen to leave the planet's surface, and then we'd get a map where we could click a button and then wait through a loading screen to get to the new planet, and then there'd be a loading screen before you entered that planet's atmosphere, and then another loading screen while you got off your ship. That kind of immersion breaking is just really hard to get past, but from everything we've seen and been told so far, that isn't the case in Star Wars Outlaws. Space travel looks and sounds really satisfying, and I can't wait to see more of it. Don't forget to hit that like button, it really helps my channel, and if you want to stay up to date on gaming news and developments, make sure you subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.